Hey everyone, it's Greg here, founder of frameworksforfitness.com, where we provide you with the tools, the strategies, and the frameworks you need to build a strong body, a strong mind, so that you can face 2021 with strength and with confidence. So here we are, guys, back in the Silver Fox shed again. It's day 6 of the project. Today was another good day. It was a body workout day. I worked out with Bruce the Bag for a good, I think it was 50 minutes that I was working out. Really enjoyable. It took me about 10 minutes to get into the swing of it. I didn't really enjoy the first 10-minute slot that I was doing. But once I got past the initial, this is a struggle, it was really enjoyable. I mean, I had good music, really made a difference for me. Massive enjoyment out of that, I have to say. I'm wholly chuffed with it, it was really good. I don't know what the calorie burn was. It wasn't like the last time where I was struggling. If you remember the last time I did 30 minutes and after the first 10 minutes I couldn't move, I really struggled with it. But today I really enjoyed it, got into the swing of it. Probably did more dancing and singing than I did hitting the boxing bag, but that's part and parcel of what we do, it's about enjoyment, and having fun. There's no point in doing it if you can't enjoy it. I do it because I love it, but it was really enjoyable. Surprisingly, as you can tell by the nature of the way I'm saying it, it was quite surprising. I'll be looking at the stats anyway to see how did it look, because I felt good throughout, but let's see what the heart rate says. Just talking about stats and measurements, I think a lot of people, when they start out, particularly if they're going into a physical program and looking to exercise physically, that they want to track stats. Some people track using the weighing scales, other people using time or distance or strength or a combination of them. I would say work with what you have. I'm very lucky. I have a Garmin and I have a Garmin heart rate monitor. It's a 735, which is primarily used for triathlon. I don't do triathlons. I got it as a present because I used to do a lot of running. And this is very good with the heart rate monitor. It tells you the number of steps. It tells you how much you're leaning to the left or how much you're leaning to the right. Full of useful information. But what I would say to anybody is don't worry about the tracking the stats. I mean, you don't need to have technology to measure progress. And that's really what stats should be. It should be about measuring progress. You don't need that. If you're running, and you've run to this lamppost and you're running back, if you run to a lamppost that's further away, that's called progress. You don't need to track it any other way. It's very simple to track progress. I do have one caveat. A lot of people track progress by weight, particularly if you're trying to lose weight or lose fat, as is most the case. You shouldn't be out to lose weight, you should be just out to lose fat. A weighing scale, although it is a measurement, it's not the only measurement, because primarily what you find when you do exercise, you do build muscle as well as lose fat, and in some cases muscle can add weight on. If you have more muscle, you will add weight on. I'll never forget, I did an 8-week program in F45. It's a franchise that does high intensity interval training. That's where I fell in love with high intensity interval training at F45. But there was an 8-week program. They did a whole lot of measurements of me before I started using a biometric measuring. They measured all the fat in the body, they measured the fat in the arms, they measured the fat in the legs and different parts of the legs and bodies and arms, and it was really good and useful. But then when I went on 4 weeks later, they took an interim measure as well. And when we took that measure, I was 5 kilos heavier. And I was like, I couldn't believe it, that I was 5 kilos heavier. But what was very interesting is when you looked at the details is that I had lost an awful lot of fat and I had built an awful lot of muscle by following the training program and going in and doing the F45 workouts. So although I was deflated, if I had been using weight as the only measurement, I would have thought that this isn't working and I would have given up and tried something else. But it was working, and what it was I was building muscle, which added on the weight, and then I was losing fat. So it was a combination of those two things, which was fantastic. I think I went up 4 or 5% in muscle mass, and I lost 2 or 3% of body fat, which was huge in 4 weeks. Very beneficial. But as I say, just using one measurement would not have been an accurate measurement, and weight is not always the best measurement to be using for that. If you are stuck and all you have is a weighing scales, I would say go out, get yourself a tape measure, a simple little tape measure, measure around your muscles, measure around your waist, measure around your hips, just with a simple, keep a record. Come back to it then in a couple of weeks' time and measure it again. The weight may not have changed, but what you'll find is that the circumference of your waist has changed because you've lost fat, but you've built up muscle, and that's why the weight hasn't changed. So don't let weight or scales be the only measurement, particularly if you're doing fat loss. I don't need to talk to runners or cyclists about stats, because I know you guys live stats. You're constantly checking, did I go faster? What's my pace per minute per mile, or per kilometer, depending on the distances you run. Same with cyclists, knowing how fast you're pedaling, I suppose, looking at your speed, your average speed as you're racing along. And same with triathlon and distance swimmers. Anybody who's into those kind of sports generally tend to track statistics, and they're very useful. They can be fun, they can be fun to track. But what I wanted to say to you guys is, you don't need to go out and buy all this high tech equipment and gear. I just have it because I didn't buy it; it was given to me. It was a present. I wouldn't have gone. Well, I probably would have gone out and bought it eventually. But when you're starting off, just use what you have. Use what you have to measure. If you have a pedometer, put it on when you're running or you're walking. Then you'll know how many steps. And if you do more steps than you did yesterday, way to go. As I always say, when I started running, lampposts were a great measurement. You'd run to the next lamppost, getting a little bit further every single time. There's progress, and it's visual, and you can see the progress. So I think that's important. But if you're into your stats, go get your piece of kit. Maybe you've got something over the Christmas holidays that would be nice. Utilize it. But use whatever you have. Use the tools to have. Look on the internet, find out different ways of measuring things. But all I would say is, don't just rely on one thing. Calorie counting is another one of those as well. It's very similar. Just counting calories isn't really the only method for measuring food intake and nutrition. There are other ways. I highly suggest you get a book or find a nutritionist, a professional nutritionist that can help you. Not all calories are the same. In my book, I think not all calories are the same. If you eat 100 calories of sweets, you eat 100 calories of sweets. It's not the same as eating, 100 calories worth of protein. It's a little different. So I think they're different. But again, as I would say, I'm not a nutritionist. Go out, find yourself a professional and utilize their information. So that's all I wanted to say. Great workout today, day 6. Tomorrow is mindset training day. So look out for that. I think it's personal development tomorrow. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And that'll be the end of our first week, first 7 days. Sunday obviously will be the end of our first full week, and I will do a roundup video talking about the workouts and the mindset training that we've done, and then also looking forward to what's coming next week. In the meantime, guys, all I would say is sign up to the newsletter on frameworksforfitness.com if you haven't already. Find us on Facebook, Frameworks for Fitness, and on Instagram. Please like and share if you think this is useful for you and your friends, or somebody you know might benefit from it. Please share it with them. The more people we can bring on this journey together, the better. If you want more information, comment below on the post, and I'll take a look at your comments and try and answer a few questions. Again, I'm not a professional. I'll just give my opinion, and that's all it is. But please, like, share, and we'll talk to you guys again tomorrow. So please take care, enjoy yourselves, and we'll talk again tomorrow.